If you are even considering working at or applying for a position at an Amazon warehouse, please do me one favor. Watch this entire video, take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day, and I promise you, it is going to save you some major headaches down the road. What is going on, everybody? It's Jonathan with Gig Nation. I just finished up my first week working the night shift at an Amazon warehouse as a delivery station team member. They gave me this ID, which I used to check in. I also got a Prime Day shirt because we've been working during one of the busiest weeks out of the year for Amazon. And let me just say, there are a few things that I really wish that I had known and I really wish that I had done previously before applying to Amazon. So let's dive into these really quick. The first thing that you're going to want to do before you apply to Amazon at a warehouse position is research the roles as thoroughly as possible. As I mentioned, I'm a delivery station team member. I work with stowing. That means the trucks bring the packages in, they drop them off, and I pick up these large packages. Most of these are beds, TVs, refrigerators, barbecues. I put them on a dolly, and then I wheel them over to the next truck so that they can go out to delivery for the Amazon customer. Now, as you might imagine, this role requires quite a bit of manual labor, and it is definitely physically taxing. But there's also quite a few other roles that I didn't know about before I signed up for, which would have been probably a little bit more enjoyable. One of those is problem solver. Essentially, this person goes around with a scanner or a computer and makes sure that all of the labels on packages are correct. Not as much heavy lifting involved. There's also package sorting, where packages are brought to you on a conveyor belt in a warehouse and you're just taking these smaller packages and putting them in the correct bins. Now, I wouldn't say my job or my role is all that terrible. I do enjoy getting the exercise, but in the long run, after doing this for a few weeks, I can imagine I'm going to start to get some backaches, and I might reconsider whether or not that was the right choice and role. And the thing about these Amazon warehouse jobs is that you have to wait 30 days, sometimes up to 90 days, to even apply to switching positions. And in order to get that new position, there has to be a new one open, and your warehouse has to be willing to give you up. So instead of putting yourself in that difficult position where you have to wait and apply to switch, just make the right decision up front. Next is the debate between full-time and part-time. Currently, I'm working part-time. I'm doing the night shifts between 11:30 p.m. and 3:30 a.m. These are 4 days a week, and it adds up to be something like 16 hours a week, but up to 20. And my job is currently all on demand. So after this first week of training, I have to actively pick up these shifts as they become available in my app, and there's a lot of competition. For example, next week I actually missed picking up a couple shifts and I don't have any work scheduled. I'm also receiving less benefits. I don't get health insurance because I'm working under 30 hours a week. Now, there are other warehouses which have regular shifts in the part-time positions, so you don't have to compete for those hours, and that might be nicer for someone that's looking for that constant paycheck. The one good thing about my on-demand hours is that they work a little bit similar to the way that Amazon Flex does their shifts, and when they're super busy, they will give you bonuses. For example, this past week I got a lot of $5 bonuses, so instead of getting paid $15.50 an hour, I was paid $20.50 an hour. Sometimes they'll do 50% pay bonuses, and other times they will actually do 100% pay bonuses for the on-demand shifts. So if you're looking for something super flexible and that could potentially pay more during certain times of the week, times of the year, then my position might be the right one for you. But if you're looking for full-time work, then you have to consider if you are willing to be standing on your feet, moving, sorting packages for 10 hours at a time, because typically you're getting 4 10-hour shifts a week when you're doing a full-time role at an Amazon warehouse. And this does unlock those health insurance benefits for you, which is a huge plus, not having to pay those out of pocket. But even the managers who have been at my Amazon warehouse for a long time say, think seriously, think long and hard before you start 10-hour shifts on a full-time schedule with Amazon, because it is going to be very hard on your body. Consider all of the potential possible options for employment out there before you apply to work at an Amazon warehouse. It's very easy to just go ahead and take that leap, jump straight into an Amazon warehouse job when instead of applying to a bunch of other positions that are out there. Do a Google job search, see what's available in your area, because there's other companies that may not be advertising as much, but they're offering roles at a similar, maybe even a higher pay, but they're going to be less taxing work. For example, Walmart hires, and it might not be quite as hard on you as an Amazon job, but they also offer those benefits, and they're not going to do as much to advertise those jobs. Think long and hard about why that is. Amazon is having a really high turnover rate because of their work environment, so they have to constantly advertise to bring people in. maybe these other jobs that aren't advertising as hard don't need to. How far is the distance from where you're living to the warehouse you're commuting to each and every day? This is a big one for W-2 employees because they don't get to write off those miles. So for me, I'm traveling 20 plus miles per every shift that I'm working just to get to the warehouse, and then another 20 miles back. So for me, that's at least $6 to $7 in gasoline. And if I'm looking at that standard IRS deduction, they're actually estimating that it's costing me 57 cents per mile if I'm looking at all the wear and tear and maintenance on my car on top of those gas expenses. So if we look at that, it's actually looking like it's costing me about $20 a day just for that commute, maybe even a little bit more than 20 bucks a day. And that's really coming out of my earnings because I'm not getting to write any of that off. Always value your health and your well-being physically and emotionally before making money. Now, this one's hard because a lot of people are in a position where they feel like they need money, they need to get a job, and they just want to jump into something. And you might find yourself in a position, I'm not necessarily saying that it's bad for everyone's health, but over time, it's going to wear you down, and it's going to definitely be a wear and tear physically on your body when you're working in an Amazon warehouse. And that depends on role by role. So what I'm saying is just take a step back. It doesn't have to be before you apply, but maybe even while you're working, and consider what this is doing to your body, and if there's other jobs, other positions that you could take that are going to be less taxing and more sustainable for the long term. Consider the upside that's available for the position. Now, there's a lot of reasons to be skeptical about going to work for an Amazon warehouse, but at the end of the day, they do promote from within. So if you're at the warehouse for a long period of time and you're excelling at your job and you're showing that you can, handle more tasks and potentially manage people, you can get promoted up. You can get more full-time benefits, more consistent hours, higher wages. And there's really no saying how high you could potentially go with Amazon. I do really like the management team at my warehouse. They're very positive people. I think you have to be working in that environment for so long because it is one of those environments, that could definitely drain on you emotionally if you don't continue to have that positive outlook. If you've ever considered getting a CDL certificate or becoming a truck driver, then starting off at an Amazon warehouse might actually be the best move. That's because Amazon will pay for you to get that CDL certificate so that you can get a position within the warehouse where you're driving the trucks around for other people to unload. And Amazon doesn't have any requirement for how long you stay after you get this certification. So you could get Amazon to pay for that school for you. You could stay in your job for 6 months at the warehouse, and then once you have that certificate and that skill set, you could start driving for trucking and make that your career path long term. Don't worry too much about the training process in the videos before you get started. There's a lot of pre-hire stuff that you have to do. Most of it's just videos that you click next and continue to watch through. Now, definitely, take it seriously, but take it with a grain of salt because a lot of this is about company culture. It's about safety. Safety is important, but a lot of this is also really just common sense. You're not going to show up to the first day, if you miss something in the video and get in trouble, show up to the first day ready to ask a lot of questions and ask a ton of questions. This is your time to really figure out everything, learn everything. It's going to look good if you're asking questions because that means to the managers you're taking it seriously. Don't wait until the end of the first week or the second week to ask questions. At that point, it's going to start to get annoying for management. If you have anything you want me to add to this video, leave a comment down below. I know I have a ton of subscribers that have previously worked in Amazon warehouses, so I'd like to get a list going because I know I definitely missed some stuff. And if you found this beneficial, make sure to hit that like button so that it gets out there to everyone who's considering working at an Amazon warehouse.